Hey, what's up? Just waiting for people to get in. What's going on, guys? Waiting for people to check in. Give me 1 second. Just setting up, guys. Today we're gonna have a really interesting conversation. What's up, Angel? What's up? Everybody, come on in. Come on in. We're gonna have a really interesting conversation today. I miss you guys. I want to just be more consistent with the live and get more. Just start making content, man. I've been in this wheel before. Just want to get consistent with the content again. And what we'll do, we just get this thing popping back to where it needs to be. Give me 1 second, guys. I'm just trying to get the music to play properly. Oh, here we go. Hey, Yaya. Salam. Salam alaikum. What's up? I'm Annual. Everybody tune in. Hope everybody's having a great time. It's beautiful weather. Yo, what's up? What's going on? 你好, 大家好. Hello. Hi. Hello, everybody. Welcome. This is American Sign Language. Welcome. 안녕하세요. Русский, по-русски. I can't speak any Russian yet, guys, but that's my plan. So many beautiful Russian people are here in Phuket. Got a lot of Russian friends. Grew up in Sheepshead Bay, Brooklyn, New York. Come on in, guys. We're just gonna vibe out tonight. It's gonna be kind of like a real casual, laid-back conversation. What I've learned being alone in isolation, and I want to just share some wisdom with you guys on how you can transform your life in 2024. How you can really change the way you're thinking, your mindset about different things. We're gonna talk about all that stuff today. The Drake diss track is on Spotify right now. By who? 你好吗？我很好，谢谢。Yeah, we're gonna get to the questions, guys. Don't worry, we're just gonna let the vibe kind of build up. You know what I mean? It's been a while, man. It takes a lot of work for me to start being consistent with content again. So I feel like live is the easiest way to just get the content out there, and then we'll grow from there. All right, I'm gonna type up some stuff right here. Yes, I am an American citizen. All right, so this is kind of like in typical Frankie fashion, right? This is gonna be a completely unscripted, off the cuff video. Typical Frankie fashion. Typical. Let's just sit down, intimate setting, have a conversation about the things that I want to talk about. All right. Yeah, I cut my locks, man. It was just, I'm a clean cut guy, man. You know, and that's we could actually talk about that. We could talk about that in this video, like the locks thing, like why I want to grow locks. We'll talk about a lot of stuff. We can talk about some real interesting things in this this live. But I did cut my locks off. Reason being was ultimately I feel like it wasn't aligned with who I am and what I want to, how I want to represent myself. Like it just doesn't fit with my image, you know. Although I do resonate the like locks, the historical context behind locks and resonates with me. You know, my culture being of West Indian descent, Caribbean descent, you know, locks really became popular with Jamaican culture. It represents unity, strength, and is an integral part of the Rastafarian movement. So it was just kind of like, for me, my personal reasons why I decided to get locks was just more or less it had to do with I wanted a change, right? And that's what this topic is going to be about. We're going to talk about change. We're going to talk about how to transform your life in 2024, how to really do that inner work. Because I tell you what, that's all I've been doing since I've been in isolation. I've been with myself and I've discovered the keys. Like I really discovered the keys. And the beautiful thing about the things I've discovered on my own is that you really don't need anybody else. All you need is you. And you need enough time and space to get to you. You need enough time and space and eliminate enough distractions so that you can get to you. You can get to what your heart is telling you to do. Get to your inner voice, your inner power. And I think a lot of times, speaking from personal experience, I've always associated my success or anything that I needed or I wanted with external things. Like I needed to get here. In order for me to get where I want to be, I need to find out who I need to connect with, what kind of value exchange we need to have. But being alone showed me that this was all I needed. I needed to be alone, trust myself. I know what I'm doing. I've always known what I was doing, and it's only when I begin to doubt myself and I begin to start looking outside of me, that's when all the the confusion happenings. Like, oh, am I doing this? What? You got to trust yourself, right? Um, Yaya says your skin looks so clear and beautiful. What are you eating and taking? Any herbs of detox? Thank you so much, Yaya. I am actually just changing everything, the lifestyle. It ultimately has to do with the lifestyle before anything. And that's going to be actually a perfect segue into the topic of this conversation, how to transform your life in 2024. What are you doing every single day? So prior to me going into isolation, I was on social media a lot. I was not eating the best foods. I was eating all the processed, sugary foods that you can find in abundance. It's ubiquitous. You can find it everywhere. And I was just not having the right daily practices. So the reason why my skin and my glow and my energy is amplified right now is because I've simply just removed. So the first step to transforming your life in 2024, I would say, is definitely to remove. Is to strip away. All right. Now this could happen. You could take this metaphorically. You could take it, metaphorically. You could take it literally. You need to take it in every in every way, because that's exactly what I've done. I've done it metaphorically. I've done it physically. I've stripped away the things that no longer serve me in my life. I stripped away the people that no longer serve me in my life. I stripped away the cheap dopamine, the cheap what's the word I'm looking for? Cheap dopamine, the cheap nutrients, the cheap. Okay, so like people be like, man, I'm really craving a donut right now, right? And they'll just go get the donut because it's cheap and it's accessible. But they don't take into consideration that that donut is loaded with processed sugar. I heard someone say before, like, the best part about the donut is the hole. Okay, King Bedell says, bro, I decided New Year's Eve to change my life and it's still in 4 months. And I don't, see, you know what? And I don't do what I decided. Listen, that's why I wanted to create this live. There's a lot of people, I know there's a lot of people that say, they're probably in the same situation as you. And I give you kudos for actually being open about that, because a lot of people just will pretend like, everything's okay. And I appreciate that. And just know that you don't have to do everything exactly at that time and moment. You could, today, right now, you can pick up yourself and you could start doing the things that you said you want to do. But chances are the reason that you have not done the things that you wanted to do is because there's something holding you back psychologically, and you have to figure out what that is. It's usually rooted in fear. It's only two things. It's either fear or love. So if you're operating out of fear, you have to figure out what that fear is that's stopping you. There was a lot of fear that was stopping me. There was a lot of fear that was stopping me before and inducing all this kind of like confusion in my life. So it's usually fear. Dylan said consistency is key. Start small. Yeah, but how do people even get started, Dylan? A lot of people don't even get started. He's like King, right? Like what this guy said. He said he had it on New Year's Eve to change his life, and it's been 4 months. He hasn't even started. I'm assuming he hasn't started. So before you can get consistent, you have to be able to start. Why aren't you starting? Most people don't realize why they're not starting. You have to figure that out. And how you figure that out is that you got to spend time alone. You got to really explore the deep uncomfortable things in your mind, man. You got to explore those things that people don't want to talk about. And figure out what's holding you back. If it's a body, if it's success, financial success, if it's whatever it is, you got to figure out what's in the way of that. What's stopping you from achieving that? It's unquestionably fear. It's for sure fear. But it's up to you to decide where that fear is rooted in. Is it the fear of others? Is it the fear of change? Is it the fear of being uncomfortable? Is it the fear of entering into a new paradigm where you have no kind of previous reference? Speaking from experience, like when I first learned Chinese and I put myself, being somebody that came from Brooklyn, New York, in an urban environment, and I put myself in Chinatown, that was extreme. I do fearful shit all the time. What I'm doing now is extremely fearful. Y'all gonna see it, but when it's done and I share it with you guys, it's like, wow. Like, it's kind of like I'm like an adrenaline junkie, but like, I don't jump out of planes. Instead, I just go do some really impressive shit. I'm not saying jumping out of planes isn't impressive, but what I'm saying is like, I just do it in this way. Like once I finish what I'm working on this side of the world, it's gonna be extremely like impressive. Okay, so Fly Shay says starting really is the hardest part as well, but once you start and get out your own way to do what you want to do, you will learn to keep on trying. Yes, absolutely, I agree with you, Shay. Starting, but here's the thing, Shay, like people start, right? And then in that process of starting or attempting to start, they'll just be like, screw this. And it's that voice. Like everybody, I'm so tired of this woke, or I don't know if this is the correct term is woke, but everybody's online talking about, you know, how to transform your life and discipline, but I feel like everybody's missing the point. Discipline is easy once you understand. If you really want to do something, you're going to be disciplined to do it. Why else would I sit my ass at a table for hours and hours and hours studying Chinese? That's discipline. Why else would I be consistent with trading, learning how to develop a skill of trading and losing money, thousands of dollars, but still doing it? It's discipline comes natural once you understand and you're passionate and you're convicted, and like once you really want to do something, you don't need discipline. All that stuff kind of follows it. Like, I didn't need discipline to learn Chinese. That was a part of the process. I really wanted to learn Chinese, and it was just like, okay, why did I want to learn Chinese? I don't know. I was connected to the heart. You gotta connect to your passion. It comes from the heart. If you connect to your heart and your passion, you're going to do whatever it is that you want to do. It doesn't matter how long it takes. It doesn't matter how much time, how much discipline that's needed to accomplish the objective that you set out. But the whole point is that, like I said, you have to connect to your heart, and you have to connect to the why behind you want to do something. But when I didn't know why I went to learn Chinese. I just said, you know what? No, I do. I take that back. I do. You know what it was? I knew why I wanted to learn Chinese. And that's honestly the reason. How did I forget that? I honestly know why I wanted to learn Chinese. The reason why I wanted to learn Chinese is because it stemmed from kind of like an insecurity I had. I had an insecurity. The insecurity propelled me to learn Chinese. You want to know what that insecurity was? I was so insecure with my intellect at one point in time. At one point in time, I was extremely insecure with my intellect. I was always a troublemaker in school. Academically, I knew it's like I have ADHD, right? So, but I was always excelling in school in terms of like I always knew I was smart, and the stuff that we would talk about in school was just extremely boring to me. But I always knew if I was interested in it, I would use it, and I would pass whatever it is. But I was never disciplined in school, and I would get, because for kids who grew up like me who have ADHD, a lot of our I guess you would say a lot of our pressures come academically, because we're criticized so fiercely along that. You know, we're criticized growing up as a child, like how you perform academically is a lot, is major. And I knew I was smart, and I always felt like I was smart, but I just could not excel in the traditional educational environment. Like I could not sit down at a desk, do homework, through these chapters, write a summary. Like I just could, that type of learning and that type of environment does not sit well with me, especially me who's very like, I need to be hands-on, I need to be immersed, I need to feel like the sensory inputs. And basically when that happened, it developed me to create this insecurity that, damn, I'm not that smart, because I was basing it off of grades. I didn't do really well in school, so I had this insecurity. So then I got to a time in my life, it's like, you know what, I'm tired of just skating by with just being mediocre, in terms of like, I'm tired of just skating by life and just being like, okay, mediocre is good enough. Because I always knew I was always passing, because I was always nailed the test, but I wasn't really exemplary. I wasn't really distinguished in my academic studies. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna learn Chinese. And once I did that, that boosted my confidence in ways that could not even be described. Like the confidence I gained from learning Chinese, teaching myself Chinese, to read, write, and speak Chinese, just my confidence blew through the roof. And I did not learn it in a tradition. I didn't learn Chinese in a traditional environment. I learned it my own way. Ties back into my original topic, which is like, you gotta follow your heart. You gotta follow that passion, that inner voice. And your inner voice may tell you to do something completely unorthodox to get to where you want to get to, but it knows how to get you there the best way. You can't think about it, all right? You cannot think about how to get there. You have to follow your intuition. A lot of people is disconnected from their inner core self, because they're over consumed with content online. They're consumed with just a whole bunch of nonsense. They're not eating the right foods. Their brains are severely underdeveloped. Their consciousness is severely stunted. Their development as a human being, their soul consciousness is severely stunted. Listen, this is 2024. We know enough now about science to know that we are not just this meat package that we have. It doesn't even matter your religious orientation, doesn't matter your spiritual perspectives. We know enough now. If you do not, I can literally look up the studies. Let's reference a study now. So not just say that. Let me give you an actual study. Let me cite something. I think it's called the split proton. The split proton split study. Okay, I think this would be a study name. I'm trying to find the name of that actual study. So I just googled the split beam study, scientific study, okay? And it basically just shows how, the gist of it is, don't quote me, but the gist of it basically shows that there's this area of study that says that matter is only there once you're visually interacting with it, right? So it just goes to show you that matter is truly just energy. Like it's split, I think it's wave, I think it's split wave particle study. I'm gonna get the actual name of the study, but the gist of the study just shows that we are constantly manifesting every day. Every day we're constantly manifesting when we walk in our day-to-day life, what we engage in. So it shows that there's something more out there than this 3D reality that we have right now, that we touch and that we feel and we interact with. It is, yes, it's a quantum physics. It's a quantum physics study. I want to get the actual name of the study. It's a very popular study. But my point of that my point of bringing this up is that you have to be able to follow that intuitive guide. And if you don't have that intuitive guide that really comes from connecting to your core, then you're going to constantly just be lost. You're going to be taking the long way to every way. I take pride of knowing that everything I do it in an extremely short amount of time. Who the hell learns how to read, speak, and write Chinese fluently in 8 months? That's not because I'm smarter than everybody else. I mean, that's what I would like people to believe, but that's not the case. I'm common. I honestly believe that the reasons why I get explosive results in such a short amount of time is because it's like a perfect mixture of luck, but more than that has to do with just following my heart and doing the things that just seems crazy, but it's my heart's telling me to do it. Yes, I spoke. You can go ask anybody. Go verify. Go double check. Go verify what I'm telling you. I learned to speak right, and let's just say speak, because speak is the best way to gauge it. I learned to speak Chinese in 8 months on my own. Hey, Sarah. So what are some things, guys, that you have set out in 2024 that you pretty much made a promise to you start in the beginning of the year, but you have not been able to do that? And ask yourself, why haven't you been able to do that? In order to do that, you need to meditate. You need to be able to connect to your core. You need to be able to connect quietly to yourself and know what the issues are. You got to know what these issues are, where they're coming from, where they're stemming from. Because it's only love or fear. Obviously, you're operating in the frequency of love, excuse me, if you're following a passion, if you're doing what you want to do. You're following fear if you're not doing what you really want to do, if you're not being authentically yourself. It's only two things, and those two, it's like a yin and yang. It's like the white and the black. It's really the whole universe could be literally boiled down into these two overarching themes. It's either love or it's fear. And if you're not operating love, you're operating fear, and it's vice versa. But one needs the other. They're both needed, but they both serve two different lessons. They serve both two different purposes in life, right? How many hours you spend every day to learn Chinese in those 8 months? I just immersed myself in the environment. So I was working in a Chinatown, and I was literally there for about 9 hours a day, and all you hear in a Chinese salon is Chinese gossip, Chinese everything Chinese, all day, every day. But it was just the amount of active engagement of the language that helped me learn. So yeah, man, to transfer your life, I would say, guys, you gotta strip away. I'm not gonna give too much, just strip. We're gonna make this. I'm trying to be consistent with the content, but today's precept is called strip. So I want you guys to find one thing, just one thing that does not align with the version of yourself that you want to be, and strip it away. It could be literally as simple as just eating carelessly. Eating carelessly. You could just say, you know what? I don't want to eat carelessly anymore. I don't want to eat carelessly anymore. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna have cheat meals. I'm not gonna say I'm not gonna do any of that stuff. But I'm just saying I'm not gonna eat carelessly, meaning I'm not gonna eat subconsciously. I'm sorry, unconsciously. What I mean by that is, like, you'll go and just be like, I'm hungry, and then, see, right now there's like a whole stack of like cookies right to the right hand side of me. There's a whole bunch of cookies, chips, candies right there sitting down. And I could just unconsciously, while I'm talking to you guys, just snack on it, and I can eat that right now. Just talk and just eat that. But I've developed a consciousness around what I eat and what I put into my body. So I'm not saying that you guys have to do it. I mean, you find something that doesn't serve its purpose in your life and strip it. It could be, like I just gave the example, it could be a bad habit. It could be somebody that you know it's not good for you, but you keep them around anyway. Ask yourself why, explore it. Strip is the first stage. The first step of transforming your life, you have to strip. It's a stripping process. Yes, separate the wheat from the chaff. Just like Emmanuel just said, you have to strip away everything. So I'm gonna open up if anybody has any questions about what we've discussed so far, in 25 minutes. I've talked about a lot in Frankie's fashion, all over the place. But I'm pretty sure those who get it. Those who don't, take what resonates, leave what don't. You know, take what resonates with you, leave what doesn't. We talked about how to transform your life. We're talking about how to transform your life in 2024. Some members said that they started out with a New Year's resolutions, but they hasn't really done nothing. They haven't really done shit. And I say that in a very authentic way. They haven't done shit, not to say that you aren't shit, but you haven't done shit because you still got shit. You still got shit that you need to, you know what I mean, you gotta work on. You gotta figure out what that shit is. And that unpacking the shit process starts from within. You don't need respectfully, everybody has their own opinion on this. This is my opinion that I'm sharing. Community leaders and all these people are needed. All these people are needed. Healthcare is needed. Therapists are needed. All these things are serve purpose. But I've tried all these things, right? I'm talking from say I spent hundreds of dollars on therapy. Okay, especially around the time that you guys saw last year, I spent hundreds of my own money on therapy. Ain't no insurance, ain't nothing. I spent money on therapy. I've explored different religions. I've spoken to clerics. I've spoken to, knowledgeable men in different religions. Spoken to rabbis. Spoken to imams. Spoken to pastors. And ultimately, guys, in my own experience, man, you have to follow your heart. You got to be connected to who you are. You are going to constantly be looking everybody for answers if you don't know who you are. If you don't know how to find your truth your own way. I'm not saying, like, what I'm saying is, like, a lot of people use religion and use these things as scapegoats because they're unable to confront themselves. And that's a conversation people are not ready to have. People aren't ready to have that conversation. I've seen it firsthand. People will run to religion as a scapegoat because they're unable to sit with themselves and really deal with the things that really affect them. And what they're doing is now offsetting that trauma, offsetting that baggage, that shit, so to speak, to this savior to handle their issues. And that's not good. That's not the way. Like, I'm not saying that therapists are wrong. I'm not saying that religion is wrong and all these things are wrong, but you got to know yourself. You got to have and the way you know yourself is that you got to isolate yourself. Isolate yourself. You don't got to do what I do. A lot of you can't do what I do. You can't. I'm going to answer that right away. Are you atheist? No, I'm not. And I don't talk about religion so much. I've just touched on this religion for the sense of this topic because I feel like I'm an explorer. Like, I literally talk to religious people. I mean, I literally interact with religious organizations frequently. Even in this side of the world, I interact with religious. I was literally in a Buddhist they call Wat. They call it Wat. It's called a temple, a Buddhist temple yesterday. There was this graduation being held, and this Songkran festival, which is the largest this is the largest holiday in Thailand, and my whole point is that I'm constantly around different religions. I'm constantly absorbing different religious ideologies and experiencing religion through the eyes of different cultures. And if you really look deep down inside enough in all of them, they all tell you got to deal with yourself. You got to go and literally connect with yourself. Because a lot of times people will literally pervert religion. And like its purpose. It's a tool. You're not supposed to offset your free will and your conscious mind and your God-given abilities as a human, living, breathing being to, and you're really just signing away your soul. Like, you're supposed to be connected to who you are and figure out how to get your life in order. Hey, Toasty Topics, my brother Frankie, I really enjoy your content. You are inspiration for me. Listen, man, this is what I do it for, man. Y'all really want to see this content that's gonna come on this channel this year? I'm telling you, it's gonna be some big boy shit. It's gonna be some big boy shit. It's gonna be a lot of things that really align with who I really am. Like, Like everything that you see on the channel prior to me is just one fractal of me. It isn't really encompassing me. And I just kept hitting that same angle because I mean that's what everybody likes, right? It's easy to be the friendly guy. It's easy to be the guy that everybody wants to be like and be around, the life of the party, the charismatic guy. You know what I mean? The guy that can really make everybody laugh, make everybody feel good. But there's other sides of me. Sometimes I don't feel good. Sometimes there's other times that I don't want to be that person. So my plan moving forward with the channel is to just incorporate things that more align with my growth. I basically want to take you guys on this growth with me, and for the longest time I was being really selfish about this growth. I was like, you know what? I don't want to share my growth with. I don't want to share my. I want to be selfish with this process, and I really wrestled with this for the whole time. I was like, should I take them on this journey with me? Should I do it? Like, is it worth it? I'm happy without social media. I'm truly happy. I'm really happy without social media. But I was just like, you know what? I do feel like I built something really amazing, and the people here is just, I really resonate with a lot of my viewers. A lot of my viewers resonate with me as well. And I built like a family, and I really don't have people like reach out to me while I was in my isolations. They checking up on me, and people that originally found me from YouTube. Shout out to Kenneth. A lot of them. There's a lot of them. Shout out to Kenneth. Shout out to the brothers. You know what I mean? Kamal, you know who you are. Like I shout out to all my people. Like they reach out to me, but I just been really selfish and protective of my energy because I figured it out. You know what I mean? And now this is me not being selfish by sharing you what the sauce is. You gotta connect to yourself. That's the secret. Hello. Voila. Connect to yourself. Connect to your heart. Connect to your heart. Connect to yourself. Connect to your heart. You can still access it. I don't care how much trauma you've been through. You're not the only one. You can still access it. You can still find your truth. You can still resonate with the beat. You can still resonate. It's the only thing that's beeping to from we into this earth until we leave this earth. It's the only thing that's constantly just beating. You can connect with that, you know? Yes, Tosi, I appreciate that. Discipline is needed, like I talked about in this conversation, but discipline always follows understanding and passion. So when you're passionate and understanding about whatever it is that you want, then the discipline will just naturally follow. I had to develop that. I had to realize that because I would be like, damn, why am I getting the discipline to basically go to the gym every day? I want to get this body right. Well, you got to really ask yourself, how bad do you really want it? And if you don't want it that bad, and that's okay. You may not want it that you didn't reach the point where you really want it bad enough to really implement the discipline that's needed. And I had to be okay with that. Like, all right, if I'm not doing something, it's because I really don't want it that bad, and I know eventually I will get there. Right now, I don't want that bad, but I'll eventually get there where I would really want it, and because I've seen it happen so many times in my life. Like, if I want something, I'm gonna get it. Period. What do you think will happen when you die? Life's greatest mystery. I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know. Nobody really knows. We only know what people tell us or what we have believed, what we have identified with, whether it be through religion, whether it be through science, whether it be through own imagination. Nobody really knows. Nobody has ever died and came back to tell us. Or maybe they did. I don't know. So guys, this was just a quick someone said I know what happens. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's right, Toasty. If you're passionate about something, the discipline is gonna follow. And again, I draw a comparison to the things I've personally done and what I personally continue to do every day in my life. You don't gotta tell me. You don't gotta tell me to sit down and to study languages. Why don't you have to tell me? Because I'm passionate about it. I do it anyway. You don't have to tell me to sit down to analyze the market, read the market, analyze gold and stuff around gold. Why? Because I'm passionate about it. I do it naturally. You know, what you're passionate about is going to naturally, it requires discipline. It's going to naturally attract discipline, and you're going to be able to do it. All right, so this is just kind of like, honestly, it's just kind of like a random, what you call a random live, because someone literally just called me, like a family member said, you know what, they really enjoyed my last live, and it was caught me completely off guard because I really was not expecting that. I was just like, really? You really enjoyed it? They said, yeah, I really enjoyed it. It was really casual. It was really laid back. Sound like you know what you're talking about over there. Oh man. So I said, you know what? I'll just do it again because for me, it's just with content because I know I don't really, again, I don't really kind of want to do it. I'm really selfish, but I feel like if I don't have to put energy and I could just, people are gonna like I have 85 people here listening to me just speak. You know, if I could just speak and you guys could get some value from it, me speaking, then okay. Until we get to a point where I can get an editor and they can edit my videos for me, then cool. They can. I plan on in this year to get a full-time videographer and editor, and they just follow me around with camera. I just do me, and they just do everything else. Because I'm telling you, I still interact with languages every day. I'm still having new experiences every day. Still exploring territories I've never been to before. Still constantly pushing the boundaries. Constantly pushing the boundaries of what is possible, what I think it's possible. I do it every single day. Every single day, I'm constantly doing it. So I really enjoy just my time and my space, especially right now. So if I can delegate this business to someone else and let them run the whole show, and I just could just be my authentic self without, you know, that would be great. Okay, someone says Joshua Sawyer said you're definitely passionate about and continue to inspire. I'm in Williamsburg, Virginia. I seen you was in Virginia Beach. That was awesome. Joshua, I really appreciate you, brother. I really appreciate those kind words. I like to help people. So a lot of times people like my content because it's authentic. How do you think I cultivate this light and authentic, bright energy of my interactions and languages? It's just because at the core of my heart, like I really want to help people and I really care about people, I would just say. So you can't fake that. That's why people get a YouTube channel. They try to imitate the whole content of languages or they try to imitate the stuff and it just don't hit the same. It don't hit the same because it's like, it's mid, you know? Um, can you briefly explain some tips to help anyone learn a language fast? All right, stop. 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 That whole question is flawed in itself. Why you want to learn a language fast? And what language you want to learn? I don't care about how long something takes. That's the whole problem. People want to do stuff. People want to do something and they paying attention to the time. If you want to do it, we're gonna do it. Time doesn't exist. If we're gonna do it, we're gonna do it. If I say I'm going to do something, I'm gonna do it. I don't care how long it's gonna take. I just know that I just haven't figured out a way to kind of like, I just haven't figured it out yet. But once I figure it out, I figure it out. So when my whole thing is your whole mindset going into language learning is wrong. When I decided that I wanted to learn Chinese, I just said I'm gonna do it. And if you're asking for if I want to be very critical. All right, I know you probably like, damn, this guy's being so asinine and being so critical. But I want to be because I remember everything starts with the mind and your mindset. Don't think about like how can I learn the fast. Okay, no. How can I be effective? How can I be an effective learner? And you have to figure out what's for you with languages. Back to the whole point. For me, like some people, for what I'm saying, some people learn languages extremely fast just by music. Like I'm somewhat envious of those people. Like somebody could really just listen to music and learn a language. Go on YouTube if you don't believe me. This is woman I came across on her content a long time ago in the early language Chinese learning days where she learned like Korean or something like that, really complex language just through the music, and she speaks it fluently. Like there's people like that. There's people that learn languages have to learn it through a book, a textbook, and they speak it fluently. They speak it at an academic level. That they're trying to do a translation work, etc., etc. And then there's people like me. How do you find out what kind of person are you? How do you find out what kind of learner are you? How do you find out what kind of learner in general you are? How do you find out what kind of language you want to learn? You have to connect to your heart. Everything you talk about, any question is always going to go back to the heart. And I'm glad you guys are asking me this question. The mindset all goes back to the heart. The heart needs to take the lead, and then everything else will follow, because the heart is where the information will guide you on how to learn. Because I was learning before I actually learned Chinese in those 8 months. I attempted to learn Chinese for like I did so for 6 months when I was like 18 years old. When I first came across Lao Shu's content, that's when I was like, all right, I want to learn Chinese, and that's when I was trying to teach myself at a table. I was exploring self-teaching myth. I was just like, okay, this is not really working, but I was just like trying to figure out, okay, this is how he does it. Let me copy him. Let me copy how Lao Shu does it, right? Let me copy how he does it. And it wasn't really working for me. And then I said, let me copy this person. They do this tactic. They, they sit down and they write stuff for hours a day. They do rote system. I tried that. It's effective, but doesn't really work. But then I sat with myself and I said, shit. All right. Frankie, let's think about this. You wanted to learn at one time. Let's look backwards, right? Let's look back. Let's turn back the hands of time and think about the things that you've already done successfully. So at the time, I was already successfully a barber. I taught myself how to cut hair. I was like, all right. I remember I've always been I've always been decently good at cutting hair, because I have an artistic mind. But how did you really take your hair cutting to the next level in a professional level? Well, that happened when it was immersed in it. Once I became immersed in the hair cutting environment, that's when I really was like, okay, wow, I learned exceptionally fast when I become immersed in something. So then I was like, okay, what if I could then apply that to language learning? And that's when I had the bright idea. I was like, all right, well, I'm already a barber and I need to make some money, and I don't want to go back to that. I don't want to go back to cutting my original kind of clientele. Why not I just try to cut Chinese hair and go to Chinatown? So that idea came from my heart, and it came from me knowing myself. So I analyzed my past results. I analyzed myself. I figured out what worked for me before in the past. And I said, okay, how do I now apply what worked for me in the past to a new objective, a new goal? And that's when I said, okay, let me go to Chinatown. I know immersion works best for me. I know if I'm in the environment, chances are I'm going to catch on to whatever it is I'm trying to catch on to. And that worked for me. That may not work for you. So, I'm sorry to go on that rant again. So you got to connect to your heart and figure out. The heart will give you the answers for everything you want to do. Whether it's learning a new skill set, getting somewhere else. Yeah. Light brought me to your channel. That's what's up. Thank you, Yaya. Karen Simmons says, Frankie, you are looking suave, looking good. Hey, I was looking a bit dusty back in New York. Y'all remember that? I appreciate that. I was looking kind of dusty, looking kind of confused, not trusting myself, not at the core of who I am. I'm eating healthy, organically, getting sunlight, interacting with locals without looking for a paycheck. Interacting with the locals back to the original state without a paycheck. Doing what I love. Working out. How can I not look this good? And I don't say that in a cocky way. Dang, somebody wrote something in Burmese. I cannot understand that, bro. I can't read Burmese. I know it's Burmese by the script, but I can't speak Burmese. Is that Burmese or is it it might be, because the Burmese script looks similar to like Indian script. I don't know which, maybe Tamil or one of those Indian script. I don't know. Strong spirit. What are you typing in? Burmese, or is it some kind of Indian idiom? Fasting is powerful. Research it. Okay, it's Burmese. Okay, Bamazaga. Okay, it's Bamazaga. Bamazaga Piodela. Lamaz agapi dela. All right, guys. I feel like I've explored this topic. I don't want to rant. I want to keep these nice and sweet because I want to actually keep these live up on the channel. So this first live, first concept, I'm gonna rename it. Is gonna call How to Transform Your Life. Step 1, strip, strip. So we discussed about stripping, and in that stripping process, what you need to associate with the stripping is also connecting to who you are, because we all have an identity. We all have a unique soul when we were incarnated on this earth. Um, and you have to connect with that. And everything is a destruction, obstruction to that connection, that inner connection. And you need to reestablish. We were once connected, you just don't have the memory of it, and you need to reestablish that connection. AKA, you need to know who you are. You need to find yourself. All these terms come back to that. Find yourself. Discover who you are, who you really are. You know, discover your purpose. All these stuff really boil down to just connecting to who you are. And I'm Frankie. And I've honestly, I did not accept that until I was in this period of my life where I've never had it before. I was completely isolated, like truly isolated. Even when I was, you know, other places, like I didn't really make it a goal to really isolate myself. And I managed to do that. And I'm telling you, the things I found is profound. So strip away, start stripping away, start connecting to your core, start asking yourself the real questions that you need to ask yourself, or you're just going to stay stuck. I mean, stay stuck if you want. The world's going to keep moving on. Shit's going to keep hitting the fan. And things are also going to get better as well. Depending on who you decide you are going to be and how honest you are with yourself, it will set the trajectory of your life on which side of the river you're going to end on. Are you going to be in the river flowing with milk and honey upwards and onwards? Or are you going to be on the other side just flowing downstream in the fucking chaos and just havoc? And you have to ask yourself these questions. Am I happy right now? Am I where I want to be? If I'm not happy and I'm not where I want to be, the only thing that you need to do before thinking about the next step on how to get there, don't think about, okay, well, what I need to, no, you need to strip away, strip, and you need to connect to the heart. And that will give you more insight and will guide you on what the next step should be. All right, guys, that's it for today's talk. And I really appreciate you guys. Sorry for people who's now tuning in. We just had a little conversation on stripping away and how to transform your life in 2024. What things that you need to do. I got some good news in store I'm going to share with you guys in this year. I don't want to share it just yet, but there's a reason why I'm talking about all this kind of stuff about psychology and all these things, because really it's about to start this new chapter of my life, and I'm going to take you guys along the ride with me. So until next time, peace and love. Keep you guys in love and grace. See you next time.